Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Today we're doing a bit of a historical masterclass for our case study. We're going to take one single ancient artifact, treat it as our primary text, and prove that if you look closely enough at the micro details, literally the columns, the stones, the precious metals, they reveal these massive macro truths about power, legacy, and the bare-knuckle politics of the ancient world.
So, to kick things off for our classroom discussion today, I want you to think about a really simple question. How much history can one single building actually hold? You know, it's so easy to walk past ancient architecture, just see a pile of old rocks, snap a quick photo, and move on. But if we treat a physical structure as a primary source document, it speaks volumes. We're going to see exactly how one building can act as a giant loudspeaker for political dominance in the ancient world. Keep that in the back of your mind as we dive in.
Here's our game plan for this explainer. First, an introduction to the case study. Second, examining the physical evidence. Third, the historical catalyst. And fourth, decoding the propaganda.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, Introduction to the Case Study.
Let's pin down the foundational facts and establish exactly what we're looking at. The Philipeion is a monument erected by Philip II, the King of Macedonia, and crucially, it was located in the Altus of Olympia. So right from the jump, we have its creator and its highly significant sacred location. The Altus wasn't just some random plot of land. It was the sacred sanctuary of Zeus at Olympia, literally the beating heart of Greek religion and the Olympic Games. Placing a building there, it meant you were demanding the attention of the entire Greek-speaking world. This was a carefully placed monument by an incredibly ambitious patron who wanted to absolutely dominate that cultural conversation.
Moving right along to Section 2, examining the physical evidence.
If you're taking notes, you'll definitely want to jot this down. The building was originally constructed using exactly 18 Ionic columns. We aren't just looking at a generic architectural shell here. We have specific structural data, and those details absolutely matter. These 18 columns form the defining exterior perimeter of the monument, which was a very deliberate design choice. In ancient Greek architecture, the Ionic order carried specific vibes: elegance, tradition, respectability. By wrapping his monument in these columns, Philip was essentially wrapping his own legacy in a very traditional, culturally acceptable Greek aesthetic. From the outside, it looked like it seamlessly belonged.
But here's where the story gets super fascinating. Even though it was built for a Macedonian king, the Philippeion was actually designed by an Athenian architect. I mean, think about the massive cultural and political implications of that for a second. To a lot of Greeks at the time, especially the Athenians, the Macedonians up north were viewed as outsiders, sometimes even dismissed as semi-barbaric. So by hiring a prominent Athenian to design his grand structure, Philip II is essentially co-opting their high culture. He's proving his dominance over them not just on the battlefield, but culturally. It's the ultimate flex. I have conquered you, and now your greatest minds build my monuments. It's a spectacular piece of physical evidence that highlights the intense cultural tensions of the era.
Which brings us to Section 3, the historical catalyst.
Let's zoom out from the architecture and map this out on a timeline to understand the why and when behind the construction. In 339 BCE, Philip II launches a major campaign into Greece. Just 1 year later, in 338 BCE, he secures a monumental victory at Chaeronea. Immediately following that victory, post-338 BCE, we see the erection of the Philippeion. This perfectly illustrates how a military campaign directly culminated in the construction of a physical monument. This building didn't just happen by chance, you know? It wasn't just a generic offering to the gods. It was the direct physical manifestation of a specific world-altering historical event.
I really want to highlight that year, 338 BCE. That victory at Chaeronea was the ultimate catalyst for Philip to commission this exact building. And to put it into perspective, we have to truly understand the scale of Chaeronea. It wasn't just a minor border skirmish. It was a devastating battle that completely shattered the combined allied resistance of Athens and Thebes. It effectively ended Greek independence and established absolute Macedonian hegemony over Greece. Without that specific crushing military triumph in 338 BCE, the Philippeion literally does not exist. It is a victory lap set in stone, strategically placed for all conquered Greeks to see when they gathered for the Olympic Games.
And that leads us straight into Section 4, decoding the propaganda. Let's actually step inside the monument now. I want you to contrast that architectural shell we just examined, those traditional 18 Corinthian Ionic columns, with the incredibly opulent interior housed within, because inside it was entirely dedicated to statues of Philip's own family. You have this very traditional, culturally expected exterior, masking a highly personal, intensely family-focused interior. It's a fascinating juxtaposition of public architectural norms and aggressive personal branding. He gave the Greeks the traditional exterior they expected to see, but the moment you stepped inside, that space belonged entirely to the Macedonian royal dynasty.
And get this, the statues of Philip's family weren't made of simple stone, or even standard bronze. They were crafted from gold and ivory. We are talking about two of the absolute most valuable materials in the entire ancient world. But the insight goes much deeper than just wealth. In ancient Greece, this combination of gold and ivory, which is known as chryselephantine, was almost exclusively reserved for colossal statues of the gods. Think the legendary statue of Zeus at Olympia, or Athena in the Parthenon. Using chryselephantine for mere mortals was a staggering, borderline blasphemous power move. Philip was visually elevating his own bloodline to divine status.
Our source material actually backs up this wild choice perfectly, noting that, quote, inside were gold and ivory statues of Philip's family. Placing his own flesh and blood, rendered in the most precious, divinely associated materials available, right in the Altus of Olympia, it was a massive, undeniable statement of power. He wasn't just commemorating a battlefield victory, he was forcefully intertwining his family's image with the sacred public life of Greece itself, demanding that his dynasty be revered almost like the gods whose sanctuary they were occupying.
So if we break this all down for our case study, Philip II basically ran a flawless three-step playbook for transforming military success into permanent political propaganda. Step 1. Secure the decisive military victory at Chaeronea, establishing unquestionable physical dominance. Step 2. Claim prominent, culturally significant space in the Altus of Olympia, ensuring maximum, inescapable visibility. And Step 3. Immortalize your own family in gold and ivory within that space, elevating your dynasty to near-divine status. It is a highly calculated, utterly brilliant strategy for cementing a permanent, unshakable legacy.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to take back to your classroom discussions. What modern monuments serve a similar purpose to Philip II's victory building? How do leaders today use architecture, prominent public locations, and carefully chosen materials to cement their own legacies and project power? The playbook Philip II used thousands of years ago is still highly relevant today. Keep that in mind and keep analyzing the structures around you.